Hello, and welcome back to my channel. This is reality, but how you doing? Now, it's some things that I want to talk about, right? Y'all ready? Y'all come on in, listen to me. Now, I remind you, everything that I'm about to tell y'all is alleged in my very own special opinion, where I give it to you real and raw, like I do. So some of this stuff is alleged truth. Hint, hint. So let's get right on down. See. We know that this happened, but we still have to say alleged, in my opinion, to cover our butts, right? So on light news, let's get to some light news first. Congratulations to T.I. and Tiny Harris for winning their case against MGA Entertainment. I think that's the entertainment company. Now, I was minding my own business, and Tiny came across my screen, and they were talking about her fight with the English language. I said, well, if I gotta lose against the English language, I would gladly lose against the English language, winning $71 million. Now, at first, I thought it was a stretch because then they had the exaggerated features on the LOL dolls, and then they were putting the dolls side by side with the OMG girls, and they just kind of switched the lettering, and I was like, they got a point. Yes, they do. They have a point, and we tired. We as Negrosa, we tired. Because she made the point of saying, we did it for the culture. And everybody's like, did it for the culture? You did it for yourself. No. The main thing is we could think about Elvis and country music all around. And the history of music. And how we made music evolve into what it is today as Negrosa. And we don't get the proper credit for it. Knowing that so many black people died in poverty from Caucasian people stealing their music and intellectual property. But I already knew all these things because my mother was very intelligent herself, and she would tell us Elvis songs, that's not Elvis. He didn't make not one song on his own, I don't believe. All his greatest hits were made by the Negrassi. She used to tell us the truth. Did not sugarcoat a thing, and I don't sugarcoat a thing with my children. She said Eli Whitney was given credit for inventing the cotton gin, but it was a slave who invented the cotton gin. He just got the patent for it. Why? Because the Negrassi could not get credit or patents when we were only considered 3/5 of a person. Preach on, law. My mama was the truth. Do you hear me? So I indeed am able to bring you some truth. Moving right along. Now we're going to get into some medium hot tea, right? And then we're going to round it off with that good piping hot tea. Now, word on the street is that Issa Rae said that she would never work with Amanda Seales again. Issa, why not, sis? You don't want to work with her no more? Because she told some truths. Her truth. She felt unprotected, Issa. But she had been protecting you for so long. I agree with Amanda. I agree with Amanda when you wrote her character and then you started treating her like the character that you wrote for her. You mean to tell me she played that character so well that you couldn't see her outside of that character? Come on, Issa, you smarter than that. My chocolate goddess. Yes, 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 I see. That's how I look at Issa. And I just look at her as like she's, more professional and better than that. But I guess I have to do better in my own line of thinking that anybody is capable of anything. And a lot of times, just like with me when I left religion and being from the South, you leaving the Christian religion, first of all, I left the Baptist folks and went down there to the Methodist people. Right? That was a problem. Then I dabbled in a little Jehovah's Witness. That was a problem. Then I went back to the Protestant faith and went down there to the Methodist people. I think maybe, I'm trying to get it right in my head now. So that was a problem. Then I left the Methodist people and went down there to the non-denominational people. That was a problem. From the non-denominational people, I dabbled in a little NOI. Dabbled into a little Israelite. And then I dissolved the light and realized that none of them were for me. The individual. Right? As Erykah Badu says so eloquently, when I left religion, I found myself. Okay. Facts. Big facts. Said all that to say, you evolve as a person. And we have this thing called groupthink. I'm about to give y'all some psychology. Y'all ready? That's what I do every now and then. I reach back there and get that personality book and bring it out for you. Right? So we have this thing called groupthink. And it's very hard for us to separate ourselves from the group. And then when we become an individual and separate ourselves from the group, we feel a certain amount of alienation. And I do feel like that's what happened to Amanda. I feel like once that whole thing happened about that party and her confronting that Jackson boy, I think that the group began to think in group think. And when a group is in that group think state of mind, it is very hard to maneuver your way as the individual out of that. And then that's when the black sheep syndrome comes about, right? So I think at this point, what's happening to Amanda Seales is she's experiencing the alienation in Hollywood. And that's very sad because she's talented. You just got to give that up to her to be able to sing and do comedy and her podcast or whatever. She's got some truths in her podcast. Her delivery, I can't talk because people say the same thing about me, that I have a harsh delivery. But harsh delivery does not make it untrue delivery. You feel me? Okay. So, let's get down to some serious news, right? Now, this is piping hot tea. Now, remember again, everything is alleged in my opinion. Hit the like button, subscribe, and comment. Okay? Now, let's get to Diddy. Now, I was showing on the big screen, if you will, darling, at my sister's house. I was showing her my video, right? And how, like, sometimes when you are doing a topic and YouTube feels like this is something that's relatable to your topic, they'll do what they call an up next. So I saw this lady, beautiful lady, live, and she was just the crying. And who was in front of her? None other than Glory Alred. I was like, what the hell is going on here? How much more can Diddy Biddy take? Well. Apparently, it's a woman by the name of Talia Graves, I believe that was her name. And she was saying that Diddy had assaulted her. Allegedly. He and his bodyguard, I believe she said. I don't remember the bodyguard's name. But the point is that something else has come up about Diddy. This woman, I think, was telling the truth. She was very graphic in her statements and very, very specific because the person who got her involved with Diddy, who I call him Diddy, well, whatever. You know, he got about 33 different aliases anyway. So the person who had gotten her involved with Diddy was her boyfriend who worked for him. And her boyfriend at the time is the one who told her not to go through with the assault case. Because she says that, and the same thing that many other women said, they go to Diddy dugs them, they wake up confused, in a different state of mind, incoherent, sore bottom, sore with JJ. And apparently he passed her on. Now, for me, as a woman, I don't understand men that do that. Why in the world would you want to run up in something raw that somebody previously, that same thing goes for choo-choos, trains, if you will, and you want to run up in something behind somebody else, right behind them, no shout, just dirty cutty. Okay. Knocking a pH off and you getting your pH knocked off for you to knock off somebody else's pH. And so on and so forth. Child back. Are y'all serious? Why would you want that kind of cutty? It's something about men who are in power that can pass on, men or women, to somebody else. That gives you a thrill. Diddy. Oh, Diddy. Oh, P. Shitty. The word also is on the street, allegedly, that P. Diddy is not eating in prison. So, NBC News reported that not only is he not eating, that this prison that he's in is probably the worst federal prison in America. Now, it was so many lawyers on this segment talking about, oh, poor P. Diddy, and if you're going to run a federal prison, you got to treat these people with respect. Really? Lawyers? They deserve respect? Yeah, what way? I mean, no caviar? Gruel versus caviar? I mean, whiting versus salmon? I mean, what? Really? I mean, the state of New York is paying for this federal prison, and they say that Epstein was there, and Ghislaine Maxwell, and all these other pedos / predatory people were there. And, I don't have any respect for the P's at all. Why? Because I was indeed a social worker. And I know the vicious cycle that causes. Yes. Very, very, very sad state of affairs when somebody gets violated at an early age. Now, I've been holding my peace, but I suspected a long, long time ago days that things were happening to Quincy Brown. And I don't know. I mean, I would hope that didn't happen to him. But I do believe that he was groomed. I believed all those male children were groomed. Okay? I don't know if he should have put his hands on them in that way. But my sister said something that made me think. Because I told her that I was feeling some kind of way for the children. And she said, well, did he feel some kind of way for Cassie's future children? The things that they're going to have to go through after what he did to her? Now, Cassie has children now, but not when she was with him, right? It's no telling how many times that girl was impregnated in these freak offs. Diddy probably was giving her not only those good hallucinogen drugs, but he probably was giving her the morning after pill constantly because she never got pregnant during these freak offs. Right? That we know of. See? And I wonder, did her children come out of her stomach or her vajayjay? Because they don't deliver children from women with the herp vaginally. And allegedly, one of the freak off prostitutes caught herpes in one of those freak offs. Well, Albert Brown, Quincy's father, has come out and said Lady P would never write a book like this, that book that came out. And the truth would come out, and it's just not in that book, but she did have a manuscript. Now look here. It could be several things that could be true in this instance, right? Now, I saw many, many things in that book and heard many, many things in that book that I feel like were true. My opinion. Okay? I feel like Diddy took his hands off of Notorious B.I.G. I think that part of the book was true. Because it looked that way to me when it happened in 1997. Right? I was on spring break. I never forget it. I was in Washington, D.C., and a lot of people were speculating that it was a retaliation of what had just happened to Pac in that previous September. Okay? But here's the caveat. Who knew that it could have been Puffy taking his hands off him from the beginning? Like, you know, like on Power. Maybe it was like one of those things. You remember how the overzealous cop got murked, and he was murked because old girl took security off of him. I think it was like a situation like that. I think he was unprotected, in other words. I don't think he like set him up or anything like that, like I believe with what happened with Pac. I think it was more like a orchestrated thing. Right? Because nothing happened to Diddy. I was in the back. I just pulled up, and he hopping around doing Diddy about talking about how much he missed him. Well, the children have come out and said that, oh, it's just disgusting. There ain't no way my daddy could have done this to my mama. My mama she passed away tragically, but it wasn't my daddy. But did your daddy do that to all the other people? Your daddy. Did he do that to all the other people? And Quincy Brown, do you realize that you are disputing what your biological father is saying about your adoptive father? Okay? Now, like I said, I have many, many questions. Was Albert Brown forced to be out of your life? And if that's the case, and you know that to be the case, and you know that so many people are speculating, including your mother's real friends, since you saying that these aren't her real friends who's saying that they have a book, what about those hints that Kimora was dropping? Are you saying that Kimora wasn't her real friend when she's helping Diddy raise the twins? See, you can't say that Kimora ain't a real friend. Right? Okay. Like I thought. Talking directly to you, Quincy Brown. I got my good eye on you. Okay. We're moving right along. And then we're going to wrap all this up and tie it in a neat little bow. But of course, Diddy is the gift that keeps on giving. So being that Diddy is not eating, the word on the street is that he's not eating because he thinks that maybe some of the chefs or some of the cafeteria staff has been paid off to poison his food. Now, with all the drugs that he's been doing, and these women being drugged in such a way where they have to have IVs after these freak offs, maybe. Now, how many of you out there feel compassion for Diddy? Be honest. We don't know that man. But we do know that some of these things that he's been accused of has been proven. I want you to think about that thing. 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Lube all over the house. Videotapes from back in the day. How sorry do you feel for him and his kids when these women probably have children now as well? Talia probably has children. We know Cassie turned around and had some. J-Lo. Although I must admit, I don't think J-Lo was a victim. Jaguar Wright is allegedly saying that the baby that caused Mary J. Blige to be infertile was Diddy's baby. So we do know that Mary is indeed infertile. And did he cause her to be that way? Now, she gets in these interviews and says that she didn't ever want children. And maybe she didn't because of the lifestyle that she lived in and the lifestyle that she's experienced. But I just don't want to look at Usher sideways. But we do have to admit that, I've always suspected that wide hip Corey Gamble was on the funny side. Gay, if you will. His hips are shaped up like women. And the word on the street is that he used to be Justin Bieber's manager. After Usher took Justin to Diddy. Do we think about Justin Bieber and what he's probably going to have and his child. He's probably going to have therapy for the rest of his life because of the things that he saw at the Diddy parties. I'm just saying. We got to think about all of that when we're saying that the world is trying to take a black man down and we just jealous of Diddy. Do you consider the victims? Why are we so anti-victim in the society? Especially when it comes to men. Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they say that? Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they come forward then? Why didn't they come forward first? Why did they win on casting? Blah, 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 blah. Who gives a fuck? If they say did it, he did it. And that's how I see things with that. I am going to close. As I do when I close, I'm going to chunk them up. But before I do, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. It's all good over here. Come on in. Share the video. Why? Because sharing is caring. And as I do when I close, I'm going to chunk them up. Deuces.